So we're getting into the end of summer and approaching the fall and winter seasons in Colorado and other mountain states. And so as you think about your adventures that are coming up, it's really important to start taking winter weather into consideration and think about how that's going to affect your journey. And so I wanted to share a couple of things that I do in preparation for my journeys out into the wild, and specifically as it concerns weather, and provide some understanding as to how you can go about this with some free resources. And then there's also some paid resources that I'll share with you as well. So let's take a look. One of the first things that I do is get a good sense of the area that I'm going to go to. And I love using Gaia GPS for this, just GaiaGPS.com. And you can sign up for an account for free and get their base topographic maps. So definitely go check that out. Let's say that we're going to go to Mount Elbert and we want to do a little bit of understanding about the region here. So I'm going to look at Mount Elbert and just get a sense of the area and look at my approaches. Obviously, if you are looking at Mount Elbert and you're on the 14ers.com website, you can go check out more maps and information there. Let's just kind of click on here just so that everybody has an understanding of the type of information you can get on 14ers.com. It's a wealth of information if you're climbing 14ers. So clearly I have a ton of information, and there's great route definition that I can go through. And so let's just say I click on the Northeast Ridge here and just take a look at the amazing information that I have. Bill Middlebrook has done a great job of putting all this information together and hosting this site for years, and he's helped me immensely in my preparation for 14ers. So definitely check these out. So I'm going to go back and look at my topo on Gaia GPS. So I can get a sense of the region. Obviously I have a lot of mountains in this area. Of course, here's Mount Elbert right here, and I'm in the Twin Lakes region, and I'm near Leadville, I'm near Buena Vista. So I want to get a general sense of the areas that I'm going to be in, and my visiting this area is going to have an impact there, and I want to understand these regions. So something else that I'll do is I'll get onto Facebook. Of course, I'll check out, say, the Colorado 14ers website group on Facebook, but I also like to check out search and rescue groups. So Lake County is the county that services Mount Elbert in that region, and so I'll go and check out the Lake County SARS group and just see what's going on. And as I scroll through here, it's obvious that they've been active, and there's a lot of information about rescues that they've had to do. And these volunteer organizations are so important to saving us in the backcountry. And when I think about where I'm going to go in the backcountry and the type of people that I'm going to affect, I want to have an idea of who may need to come rescue me. But I also want to be cautious about what are some mistakes that people are making. And a lot of the time you can scroll through these sites and get a sense of the area, and they'll tell the story about how they rescued those people, and that will help provide context for me as I think about the journey that I'm going to go on. And of course, weather plays a big part in a lot of these things, and so it's important to know if it's a good time to go visit. And the way that I make a decision around weather is by looking at forecasts, of course. So there's a lot of different pieces of information you can glean. One of my favorites is just to go to a simple weather site. Underground or Wonderground.com is a great place to go. There's a lot of very local weather stations that they use to summarize that information. So if I go to Twin Lakes, Colorado, which is the nearest little town to Mount Elbert, and then I look at the 10-day forecast, I can get a sense of what the region forecast is looking like. I can see my highs right now are in the mid 60s to 70. And then my lows are around 40 to upper 30s. Now this is down at a lower elevation. So Twin Lakes, if I go back and I look at my topo map here, Twin Lakes, that region is at a much lower elevation than the top of Mount Elbert there. We're talking about, so like here, 9,400 feet. That's up the hill a little bit from Twin Lakes proper. So definitely need to get an understanding of what's happening up on top of these mountains as well if I'm going to really understand the forecast. And so mountainforecast.com provides a great source for that information. So I can go to mountain-forecast.com, type in Mount Elbert, and then this gives me a breakdown of a forecast that also provides information about elevation. So I can see that if I look at this breakdown, I have the next 5 days or so kind of itemized out here. I've got my sunrise at 6:45 on Sunday the 13th, which is today, 6:46 tomorrow, 6:47, and then I have an assumed forecast of what the high is going to be at that time at those elevations. So these are dramatically cooler temperatures up top. I'm not quite freezing by this estimation, but I definitely have cooler temperatures. Also have some wind that I'm dealing with as well. And so I can get a sense of what that's going to be like. I can also see my elevation. So if I'm at 14,433, which is the summit, I can see just a breakdown of what the assumed temperature is going to be up high. And then also I can see if I'm down at 12,000 feet, I'm a good 10 to 15 degrees warmer, just a little bit lower down. So this gives me an idea of the types of conditions I'm going to be going into and dealing with. And so definitely some good information to get on Mountain Forecast. Something else that I really like to do is to follow local meteorologists on Facebook. So Chris Tomer out of Denver is a great native of Colorado. He's from the Alamosa area, and he likes to get out in the mountains. And he does a great job of providing a really good overview of the forecast in the Colorado area from his Facebook page. And so one of the things that I do is check his information on a regular basis and understand what it is that he's forecasting to happen. And you can do this for a lot of regions. It doesn't just have to be Colorado. You can do this for California. You can do this for Washington State. You can do this for many of the locales that have mountaineering or backcountry hiking. And so I find that just looking at local meteorologists is a great way to understand what's happening out there. Of course, also checking out the social media groups. Again, 14ers.com is really active. There's a lot of information out here. I saw a video, if I can find it real quickly. I think it's further down. A video of this crew that was hiking Mount Elbert back on Friday, just to kind of give you an idea. You don't get this information unless you're looking on the social media sites, and it's really helpful. Of course, 14ers.com. If I go check out 14ers.com again, I can look to see if there are some condition reports or trip reports in this area. So I go and click on here. I find that 14ers.com gets some great updates, but oftentimes they're not quite as frequent as I'd like, but oftentimes the social media sites provide a lot of great information. So definitely something to check out in that regard. Now, another big thing that I love about Gaia GPS is their ability to add layers to it. And this provides even more information about how I make decisions when I'm climbing. So now this is with the paid service, which in my opinion is really worth it. You can buy the Gaia GPS annual service for a year at only $40 for the year. And so it provides you with tons of different layers that you can get. Some of the best ones that I've found, especially for 2020, is the snow forecast, precipitation forecast, and then wildfire information, as well as the air quality. So I can get a pretty good understanding of what's going on by turning on these layers. So if I look at the precipitation forecast over the next 72 hours for this region, doesn't look like there's anything. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can get a little bit more context to the area. So it looks like there's some precipitation forecast down in the San Juans, but up here where I'm looking at, there's not very much. Snow forecast, kind of the same thing. I'm going to pull the precipitation forecast back down. really not a snow forecast for the entire state right now, so it looks like I'm good for the next 72 hours in that regard. I love the wildfires feature, not because I like wildfires, but simply because it gives you an overview of the areas that are impacted. And so I can see the Glenwood Springs wildfire that's happening in that area, and then the other one up here in the Willow Fork region. So this gives me an understanding of what's going on. And then again, another one that I love is the air quality. So I can pull open this air quality and get a sense of all the regions that are affected right now. So it looks like Mount Elbert would be affected by some of the wildfire smoke still. So that's something that I need to keep in mind as I get out there. And of course, wind patterns, the time of day, whether there's a lot of dew in the air, heavy atmosphere, those different types of things affect smoke and air quality. But again, I can get a great understanding of what's going on out there with these different layers from Gaia. One of the biggest features with Gaia that I love is the Nat Geo Trails Illustrated maps. These usually cost $10 a pop per quad, but I can get these digitally included in that $40 a month just by using the subscription service. And again, on Gaia, I can use these on my computer, like you're seeing here, or on my phone, or on my tablet, and I can download them for backcountry journeys. Just a little caveat: I recommend always carrying a paper copy of these maps, but having them digitally allows me to plan out my trips a little bit better and get a really solid sense of what I have access to. So enough about Gaia GPS. Hopefully this provides some context around some of the tools that I use in order to understand what the weather forecast looks like. It's also really important to think about the type of clothing and such that you're going to need up high. As we saw in that one video, obviously the conditions up there were pretty rough, and so a lot of things just to kind of keep in mind very quickly. Cotton kills up high, so avoid wearing cotton shirts like what I'm wearing here. This would not be a good shirt to wear up high in the mountains. Wear something that is athletic, has that athletic type of fabric, and provides the ability for any sweat or moisture to get off of you very quickly. Obviously, whenever you're up high or when it's cold, like in those 30-degree temperatures, wear some wool or some type of fleece as a great fabric to wear to keep you warm, but then layer it with some type of shell. So like this shell here, this is a Gore-Tex shell from Arc'teryx that I really like, and it's very lightweight, but it's going to keep the wind off of me, and then it's also going to keep moisture off of me. So in that one video where the snow is just blasting those hikers, what this would do is it would prevent that snow from getting on me or on my skin, which is obviously warmer, and then that snow melting on me, and then I get cold. And one of the most important things about being up there in the mountains is avoiding that moisture and staying dry. If you can stay dry, you can avoid hypothermia. You can avoid getting really cold and getting yourself in situations where you're going to get sick. Also, I have some waterproof pants that are made of similar material that I can just slip on. They're Marmot pants. They're fairly inexpensive and just easy to slide on over my existing pants in case conditions get really, really bad. Of course, gaiters would be great if you're trekking through snow. Keep in mind that fresh snow, fresh powder is going to be deeper and less compact than what you may be used to hiking during summer months. So whenever you get to summer months, that snow has already gone through cycles of thawing and then freezing again between the day and the night. And that cycle causes that snow to compact. And it's snow, but it's more ice. And that ice has compacted down a little bit more, and you're not going to be post-holing through all of that snow in summer months like you are now with fresh snow and going into the winter months when you have this layer of powder on top. And that powder can be exhausting to trek through. Obviously, as you saw in that video, the wind can pick it up and just whip it off across in front of you and create visibility problems. And so definitely consider the shoes that you're going to be wearing up there. When you would normally wear like trail runners perhaps to get up to the top of some of these mountains, when you're dealing with snow, it's not the best choice. You should look at some type of waterproof shoe. And I understand that there are some trail runners out there that are waterproof. I like wearing boots. I need the ankle support personally. And so even if it's a summer waterproof boot for this time of the year where we're kind of transitioning from the summer to the winter going into this fall season, something like that is okay. When you definitely get into the winter months, you're going to want some type of snowshoe for sure if you're going to do any type of hiking. You hear a lot of people talk about traction. What does traction look like? Well, I have these Microspikes here. These are Kahtoola Microspikes. And if you just kind of look at them, it's just a little chain with these little spikes that are on the bottom of it. And then it has this rubber piece. And basically what you do is you take this and you slide your shoe into it, and so it goes over whatever shoes that you're wearing. Again, they work great if you're wearing some type of boot. Whether it's a hiking boot, lightweight hiking boot, or you can put them on trail runners. But again, we're talking about these snow conditions where you need a little bit more protection out there. And so these Microspikes work really well for that. Also, people are talking about ice axes, and I have one here. I love this Black Diamond ice axe. This is not just something you should carry around as a cool factor. This is a tool, and it's actually a dangerous tool if you don't know how to use it. I mean, these are very, very sharp edges that we're talking about here, and they're tools that are helpful whenever you're doing snow traverses and such. In the powder, this fresh powder that doesn't have a lot of substance underneath it, these can be helpful, but they can actually hurt you more than help you if you're using them incorrectly. And so don't just go out out there and just assume that you're going to understand how to use an ice axe if you've never used one before. And definitely don't carry one just for the cool factor. That's not what they're there for. Take an avalanche class, take some winter mountaineering classes, get an understanding of how to use an ice axe, and be careful out there. So I hope that this video has provided just a baseline for you to start understanding how to check out weather. And the last thing that I would leave you with is this one thought that we all get really, really excited about the trips that we have planned. We can get focused on trying to climb Mount Elbert, that tallest mountain in Colorado, or any of the other mountains that we're really excited about. And if we're not careful, that emotional excitement and that energy, or even our ego, can prevent us from looking at conditions in a very rational way and making good choices about our own lives when we're out there in the mountains. Mountaineering, hiking, this sport is a very rewarding sport, from the views to the sense of accomplishment, to the solitude. All of those things are wonderful components that we enjoy in this sport, but it's a dangerous sport, and it's dangerous on a 80-degree day at the top of a mountain when the wind is still and calm and there's no snow on the ground. But especially now as we're transitioning into fall and winter months and we're starting to experience some of the snow and these weather patterns that are a little unexpected even at times, it's even more dangerous. And the last thing that I'd want is for somebody to get out there and make mistakes that they could have avoided if they just knew a little bit more information about the way to research. So research well, don't let your ego get in the way, and have a lot of fun out there in the mountains. Get out there and let me know if I missed anything in this video. Let's start some conversation and comments, and let's collaborate around it. So thanks for your time, and hope you have fun out there mountaineering.